Right, welcome to your reading. We're going to tap in and see what comes through for you today, what it is you need to know for your highest good. These readings are timeless, so whenever it finds you, there may be a reason that you are drawn in. So just use your discernment as always, and only take what truly is felt, where you truly feel resonance. I'm going to start with Oracle cards, and then I will go in with Tarot. Okay. I will tell you in a sec, just let me clarify this with Tarot, and then I'll go into the message. But it's already looking pretty self-explanatory. I'm getting that I'm hearing the word threshold, so that's still a collective energy I'm tapping into, where you are opening, or you have been opening up to receiving. Basically, they're explaining it as leaning into your feminine energies. Your feminine energies, divine feminine energies, is about leaning back and receiving. And for a lot of people, for a lot of women, or even men have feminine energies as well. Like in the world, there's an imbalance where a lot of men, and that's where there's a lot of frustration now, also within dating or partnerships, where you may have heard of the sassy apocalypse, or men being in the princess era. That's a distortion, because it comes from both sides. It comes from women being more in the masculine side, and then men will lean more into the feminine sides to balance that out, and vice versa. So in other words, if you lean more into the feminine in your natural, like as a woman, if you lean more into your feminine sides, you will be more able and capable to receive from your partner. That's the core of this reading, is for you to recognize where is there an imbalance, where have you experienced imbalances, and where was it not all, wasn't all your fault, wasn't all their fault. It ultimately takes two to tango. But also this is setting you up to, because there is a partnership here, whether this is in the making, whether this is foreshadowing that down the line you will be meeting someone, you will be merging with someone, there's a sort of fusion here happening between two, will ultimately be, or have to be, balanced for this to come about. So if you can feel an imbalance between your masculine, your inner feminine energies, that's something to work on, so that you can even receive this union. Because it looks like, for who I'm reading for here, or the collective as a whole, you get into relationships for different reasons. So this is like a prerequisite, like this needs to be in place before you can even think of coming into union with another person. Like it looks like this is kind of what needs to happen beforehand. So otherwise it's just going to be a whole lot of, it's going to feel like there's obstacles, constant obstacles. So it for me looks pretty straightforward. It's the feminine leaning into her nudge, like more into the feminine energies where she can receive, and the masculine leading more into the masculine energies where he will initiate. But again, a lot have had real issues with that, and that's where you got caught up in cycles where you were chasing after someone, them running away even further. That's like, this is where you kind of get catapulted back into the olden age, where it was a lot more balance, I'd like to say, where women were being courted. You had someone freaking singing songs at your balcony, and bringing you flowers, and there's a natural course of things that feels very natural to both men and women within their core. The ancient archetype within thrives within certain, I'm hearing ground rules, but dynamics as a whole that have gotten very out of balance. And we could, we could argue, we could we could talk about philosophize. Why am I getting these big ass words? Philosophize. Philosophieren. I just got German word, or I can say that in German. There's conspiracies that there is an agenda to keep exactly this imbalanced anyway, with rappers or celebrity rappers, or I'm just thinking of what's that woman's name, Red something, but we don't even have to name them one by one. There's talk, or this is part of the channel that you may have been aware of this, or you are aware of it, that there's agendas in place to also disrupt exactly these dynamics, to disrupt the natural flow of a divine feminine and a divine masculine being pulled towards each other, magnetized. And that's why that's why I'm saying I was just tapping into a frequency of the baby mama, baby daddy stuff, and fights and conflict and fuck your baby daddy, fuck your baby mommy, like all, there's songs that are being blasted on radios, and these are frequencies that people are being blasted with. And again, though, it's not for them to blame, it's also the consumers. That's what the last TikTok reading was about, which was quite a channel message that kind of came out of the blue for me. I didn't expect that would come through as strongly as it did. Where this is, at the end of the day, this is going to be dismantling, like the unions that you are being set up for, or why there is work to be done beforehand, is because it's bigger than just you and your counterpart who you are bound to lock in with. I heard lock eyes with, so that is imminent or has already happened, and the locking eyes will feel different than anything you've ever experienced. But that's just like a prerequisite. Damn, maybe they want me to get a dictionary and just start writing these down, and then that I can actually pronounce them. But I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm always happy to learn more. I also love learning languages. Prerequisite. So again, you can gauge yourself where you're at. If you feel like, no, I don't have absolutely no problem receiving, or that's what you've been feeling also has been changing, or you've been feeling a shift there, not only receiving from another person, also receiving guidance, receiving your own downloads, being really in tune with your intuition, is also divine feminine energy. And again, this is not something you can perform. This is not about the makeup you wear and how you curl your hair, or how you do your hair and what colors you wear, pink, like that is not what it's about. This is again very connected to the last TikTok reading, but this is an energy that you either embody or you don't. It has nothing to do with what you look like on the outside. You can come dressed as an old lady or as a hag and still be a divine feminine, or embodying that energy or that frequency. Some will naturally look or dress, or it's all part of it, but it's more also to discern that just because someone looks very feminine doesn't mean that they are embodying divine feminine energies. That's very, very important. And again, I'm hearing this cannot be masked, this cannot be performed, but it cannot be Like either you vibrate at this frequency or you do not. Either you do the work to get there, or you're just going to be somewhat stunted in your capacity to receive, and also in your capacity to receive a counterpart that is divine by nature. So I am hearing that if you're in the collective, or specifically this collective I'm reading for, is undergoing massive shifts there though. So you will feel this resonate because you are approaching either relationships or connections, or even your own posture standpoint of how you hold yourself within dynamics that when you look back, whether a year or two or longer ago, you were going at it very differently, and that already marks and symbolizes certain changes that you have undergone that you can be proud of. So it's a threshold moment, but also sort of marking and a sort of like taking inventory and acknowledging where you've come from and how far you have come when it comes to what we're just talking about here. And it may still not feel like easy go sailing. Like I can show you the card, there may still be like thorns, little thorns popping out that you may feel like at the moment, or for some time you may have been feeling like you take a few steps forward and then suddenly something comes out that it like injures you, or reflects or mirrors an injury, an old wound that needs tending to. And ultimately when you do that, it will lead you to love, is what I'm seeing here, true love. And unfortunately, due to what we just touched upon, what I already just channeled for you with what is being blasted in radio and movies and media, mass media everywhere, or from different angles, magazines, to some degree you will be conditioned to choose differently. Like, I'm just hearing a rare frequency. This is a rare frequency to embody, and not everyone will get there, but who I'm reading for here seems to be on a good way there. So I just need to double check something. Is this really in reverse? Yeah, you need to know that there's gonna be beings, entities who are gonna make you feel bad for even thinking you're deserving of all that you're bound to receive. So again, I'm gonna explain this. There's a constant flow of blessings, abundance, youth, wealth codes that are accessible to you, but due to conditioning, due to limiting beliefs, due to negative self-talk, it's like you restrict, you cut yourself off from that flow, from that state of flow. So that's why we do the work here. That's why it's called work. That's why these readings get put up, or I even get the transmissions, because it's meant to help you navigate exactly these. You can look at these, you can think of these as like limiting belief, self-hatred, conditioning, genetic programming, like everything standing in the way from you receiving, and from you being in that state of like where that constant flow of what I just mentioned, abundance, health, youth codes, wealth codes is accessible to you. Again, I'm hearing again, because that was ultimately your natural state. And here as well, this is what I specialize in, one-on-one work with the sessions I offer. It really is work. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, I'm not gonna romanticize it. It is work. But again, you don't have to do it alone. If you have no idea where to start, book in for quantum clearing. and we'll go step by step. We go through the levels. I've got Cancer energy out in Libra. That could actually be a little guidance to, well, the Cancer reading is already out. Libra won't be until the end of the month, so let me just check what those are on Patreon. So there's Cancer is up, and the last Libra reading was limiting beliefs around your heart's desire, so that would fit, because that's exactly what I was showing you. Yeah, this is the energy that I'm tuned into. Okay, so yeah, they're just confirming, the cards are confirming. 8 of Swords, Chariot, 5 of Wands, 8 of Wands. There's a constant, it kind of feels like push and pull effect, but it doesn't have to be bad. It's just this feeling I've been picking up on of taking a few steps forward, and then something comes sideways and you kind of have to deal with it so that you can even step forward and like take like that the path is clear enough for you to go a few steps forward. And I'm hearing two things as well, and this is exactly what I've been picking up on. There's like a constant, I'm hearing Long Way to Go by Cassie, but then also I heard You're Not Far Away. So you may be feeling like there's a carrot that's being dangled in front of your nose, where you're then running in circles and it always feels like out of reach, just a little bit out of reach, just a little bit out of reach. So I want to just ask what that is about, because that's just the visual I got. Tell me more about that. Yeah, this is where your vision is being a little bit murkied, muddled, and it's also due to interference. So whenever you level up, whenever you reach new threshold moments, whenever you start embodying a frequency where you can receive more of what is due to you, you're going to be pinging within other beings, entities that are tethered to you, or still track you, or still somehow pick up on your field. So that can cause interference if you don't have a good protection system in place, if you don't tend to use spiritual hygiene, clear your energy. That can and is one of these thorns. One of these thorns is also, so you have internal, I've named the internal ones, the limiting beliefs, self-talk, genetic programming, social conditioning, but you also have external thorns, and one of them will be, in this case, external interference, outside interference. Again, can easily clear that away. We can easily clear that away when you book in for one-on-one. Well, easily is a start, depending how much of what you have, you know, it will be a process. I do need to stress that. But yeah, there's options there. I'm just seeing that it's more to offer you explanation of why you may be feeling like there's something dangling in front of you and it's always out of reach. But also it is a bit of your own doing. Is what I'm saying is that you also are being asked to embody the version of you that already has what you are pining after, pining for, or wishing to receive. Because when you constantly push it away of like, I'm waiting for this, or I'm waiting for this to come in, and you don't embody it, that's your own doing of how you push, how you put yourself in that state of like having something dangled in front of you that you always feel like is out of reach. It's like putting yourself in a waiting position. And I'm hearing that some of you experience that specifically in love. And there the solution is to choose yourself, love yourself first and foremost, and then that's already you embodying a frequency that another person then can either match or they cannot match. we have 555 on the clock again. I swear to you, the last reading I did was apparently exactly at the same time. And I noticed the exact same number, so massive transformations are happening on different levels. Emotional, physical, spiritual, like this is a big upgrade that you're currently undergoing, and it may sound a little bit dim, or there may be more pointing out what is still showing up as distractions, or these thorns that you're going to be asked to deal with, or not if you don't want to, but you are going to be asked to deal with them. Tell me more. Because this can cause stress, like if you constantly also within yourself are kind of battling, oh, I deserve this, or I want it, and then another part is going against it, or telling you, but you do not, you don't, you're being too much, making you feel guilty for what you want and what you desire, which can ultimately, the root of that can be conditioning and programming. But again, this is what it takes work. It takes work to understand where the limiting beliefs come from, why you are thinking the way you are thinking, what is the root cause of it, and ultimately clear it from the root so that it doesn't interfere. And also I'm hearing past, there's so many things on like, that's why you have like freaking, I don't know, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 thorns. There's so many things that can stand in the way of you ultimately receiving and aligning with true love, with a true counterpart, true meaning, who is in alignment, who is sacred in their own rights, or can receive and recognize the bond as sacred and doesn't murk it up with their own shadow and their own issues. So it takes two highly evolved beings that can work through these levels, that they can work through the thorns that are appearing, so that this is an open gate that can be received, even a portal. I'm hearing this ultimately becomes a portal. So it's not meant to discourage you when there's the transmission coming through, that not everyone makes it. It's more to stress, and also for you to understand that I'm hearing it's not a given, and that again can sound really disheartening and discouraging, I understand, but it's also meant to empower you that you do have, yet alone your willingness can already open you up to solutions. Like if you're on this path and there's these thorns coming up, yet alone your willingness to work through them can already open up doors. Maybe that's why you find this channel, for example. Maybe that's why I pop up, because you've been seeking answers and clarity. And then you hear about there's more options. You can join Patreon, become a member of Patreon, which is also a step-to-step guide, or it's building up that way, where exactly you get channel what the collective. When you become a member of Patreon, I'm more likely to be able to pick up on your energy, but you're still bundled as a combined consciousness. So that means like-minded people will feel drawn, or like-minded, in other words, like you're dealing with the same issues. So it's just even a smaller container of where I actively channel for who is part of that, who is a member. So that's one option. Then one-on-one. Let me see what else. Also, I'm seeing that there's still a little bit of discernment that seems to be missing. I know it feels very discouraged. I don't know if for some reason it feels discouraged, but it's not meant that way. It's just more like they're pointing out your blind spots, or the reading in itself is just blind. It's just pointing out your blind spots. Because here I'm just seeing there's a tendency still of like open, like being unguarded towards certain frequencies, certain lovers, or what you have dealt with that may feel familiar, or there's like it kind of looks like you still like you're trying to prove something, and I don't know who you're trying to prove it to, if you're trying to prove it to yourself or these I don't know what is, an old flame, old lover, multiple that may have done you dirty, have been very flaky, or just not shown up for you, were not supportive. So that's why I'm picking up, it's like your solar plexus took a hit, or there's still some trauma there stored of, I'm hearing not being chosen, or feeling like ultimately that's the issue, not being chosen or feeling like you didn't get chosen. But it's a reflection of where you were not choosing yourself, because had you chosen yourself in those moments, you wouldn't even have been attracted to these types. So don't beat yourself up. I'm hearing you learn, you grow, and you evolve. And trying to suck up again after all the tough love. No, I know it's all meant with the utmost best intentions. It's honestly like tough, but also I just heard you're a tough cookie. Like you've dealt with, you see here, like you've been through the maze, like you've been through the tried shortcuts, shortcuts, then ended up taking you on the long route. Like this is life basically, or this is the life that you have chosen. I don't know what lyric that is, but that just came through. And you made it here, and this could be like final boss, final boss. Are you gonna make it through? Are you not? The fusion as well. This is like making it to this portal. Oh, here, still mirrored. Is going to show you how do I put this in other words? Like it has a whole lot to do with your heart space as well. The capacity, because you have loved a lot of people is what I'm hearing as well, but when it comes to this union, when it comes to this fusion, it will be a reflection of how much you love yourself. And that's where some of these thorns are pinging as well, because you may think you do. You may be doing all the affirmations, you may be doing all the self-care rituals, you may be doing all of that. But apparently there's some blind spots. So I highly urge you to book in if you feel the call. I'm going to repeat it as much as necessary, because I don't know how long I will be offering one-to-one sessions, and it's not to stress you, but I do feel a sense of urgency. And when I feel the need also to push out more readings, it's because the collective that I read for needs it, or is receptive to it, or now's the time. Now's the time to take up the opportunities that you do have to join Patreon, to work one-on-one, and like ultimately it's your choice. It's you investing into yourself, and you investing in clearing away these thorns, and the fusion. This is just gonna be the, like there's other, I want to say like the cherry on top. This shouldn't be the end goal, is what I just heard, but that's a different channel message already came through. It's gonna be you coming home to yourself. Like that's what it's gonna feel like. But that may happen before even another person reflects that back. Like a homecoming within yourself. And when I say this, I'm getting really, really, really hot all over my neck. This is burning away some residue of where you may still have had expectations or have thought that you need another person to fulfill you, or you need another person to feel whole, when actually it's going to be the opposite in this case, where that will just be the cherry on top that comes like packaged as a little present of you reaching the point where you're like, I don't even fucking need anything else. Like I am whole and complete as I can be. I am masculine and feminine energies in fusion within my own system, calibrated, like working together, cooperating. That is going to be, if a person, or when a person comes in that reflects that will just be the cherry on top. So I guess you did get a little bit of homework or just some information to let it simmer. Don't at all feel pressure to do anything. I just keep repeating what I feel like is necessary to repeat, just to know that you have options. But ultimately it's your choice. It's also important that you check in. Does it feel aligned? Do you feel the call at all? Do you feel a pull? Don't force anything. Because if you force it, that means you just may also not be ready. Like sometimes, this is the scariest thing you can receive. Sometimes true love, whether this is true love, like you truly loving yourself, allowing yourself to thrive, to receive, to be successful, to recognize and acknowledge yourself, can be just as scary as receiving and acknowledging true love when it's standing in front of you. And I'm just hearing that, some of you know that, and it's what you're dealing with right now, or some residue or some lingering thorns that are gonna be there until they're dealt with. So it pretty much wraps it all up nicely. I feel like we've got it down. 33 minutes is a nice number to stop. So may you receive this fully if it is meant for you, and for everyone else it will be cloaked. It will cause distortion and confusion.